Well, we meet again.
We meet again. What is this?
Morning world.
No, we meet again is like Bond?
Mr. Saleh, we meet again.
Yes, you're making me Bond. I'd love to audition for Bond, just to see the look on their faces. And you're auditioning for which part? James Bond.
Okay. Did you get the memo on the character? Have you read the script?
Yes. No. Look, we've got some cleaning you can do outside if you.
Well, you do have an evil, an evil henchman that gets thrown off of a building.
I wouldn't even get that.
No,
I'm too small. I'm too old. I got small nipples.
Well, who would you be in? Oh yes, that's very true.
Nipple man.
Who would you be in a James Bond film then?
I'd be the viewer.
Right.
I'd be the person buying the ticket.
Involvement.
Yeah. I'd be buying the ticket. Person who sat in row 7E, Akmal Saleh.
Mr. Fleming, Ian Fleming, but I call him Mr. Fleming.
Oh, Flemmo.
Yeah, good old Flems.
Flem.
He would go. I think it was Jamaica that he would go to. To an island.
Yes.
And he would write for the first part of the day. He'd have lunch. Right for the second part of the day, go and have a swim.
Jamaica.
Yeah.
Go have a joint.
Yeah,
and then,
kick back.
And then it gets really good.
Yeah.
Wow. Where's all this stuff coming from? Man, this is my good stuff,
But he said he would never go back and read his work until a month or so later after he was done, because he said if he went back and read his work that day, he'd be so discouraged he would never have finished a novel. So there's something interesting in that, I think.
I read one of his novels. I was very discouraged.
Oh, yeah?
Thought I won't be doing that again.
Which one did you read?
I can't remember. It was one of Flemmo's.
Very forgettable.
No, I was thinking of Damien Fleming, the cricketer.
Oh, right.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, wrong.
Not Ian Fleming. Wrong Flemmo.
Do you know who the first James Bond was?
Was it the Aussie? Australian guy?
Oh, George Lazenby.
George Lazenby.
A
lot of people. The lesser known Bond.
He did one. Her Majesty's Secret Service.
That's right. He did one, and then he went and worked for Bunnings.
Well, he at the time was the highest paid model in England.
Oh, really?
But his grandmother, his mother,
yes,
lived next door to my grandmother at the retirement village in Queanbeyan.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, he's from Queanbeyan.
Is he?
Yeah. So, George Lazenby, there's actually a plaque on the main road in Queanbeyan.
So he's a meth addict as well. No, but look, I'm living in Queanbeyan at the moment.
Yeah.
I won't give you the exact address. But I noticed the schools are back.
School is back.
Schools, kids apparently are immune to COVID-19.
Yeah.
And you call me a conspiracy theorist. Kids don't get it, but adults can get it. Because the kids, they need them to...
But there are kids that have contracted it.
Oh, yeah, but, I don't know. Well, this is where my argument falls to the ground.
Once again, Saleh commits to a theory. He puts it out there. Osborne makes one comment and Saleh goes, yeah, anyway.
But wait. They're closing pubs and restaurants and everything else.
Yeah.
But schools where kids sit in the same desk next to each other and that's fine. Doesn't that...
Is this a population control theory again?
Yes, I think the young people, they need to be indoctrinated and brainwashed in schools so they can get jobs and contribute to the economy and make the 1% very rich. That's just my theory.
But that's what happened before COVID.
Oh yeah, pretty much.
Essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, they didn't want to interrupt that, so they didn't say, everywhere else is contaminated except kids. Kids are our future, so they don't get...
But they're going to have to wait like another 10 or so years.
The problem with these people is that the problem with a lot of the population is the short term. Yes. Buy now, pay later.
Yes.
Nothing
Harvey
to pay.
Norman.
Harvey Norman. Nothing to pay till 2030.
Yeah.
And you hope the world will end by then, so you just get stuff as much as you can and go, it'll end by then. No, and it doesn't, then you're fucked. If I was a kid right now, I would be praying that this ban continues.
Yeah,
I would have been depressed the the government said, we have to go back to school.
But would you have rather worked from home? Because I hated homework at school.
I would have rather had coronavirus and be on a ventilator with my legs amputated than have
go
to
back
go
to school.
Absolutely. I hated school with a passion, man. It was torturous. To me, school was just one big blur. 12 years of blur. I'd go in, I attended.
Yeah.
I'd go in and sit at the desk, and then as soon as the teacher started speaking, I would have an out-of-body experience. And I would no longer be there. And then at the end, it's lunchtime. I'd come back at that point, and it just, I thought, by year 10, I thought maybe I'm retarded. I think I might be retarded.
Was it like the who was the teacher in Charlie Brown when they're wah 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 when they're talking?
That's exactly right.
Was that the 12 years of schooling?
It was wop wop wop. Exactly. It was a guy from Charlie. I never watched Charlie Brown.
But how were you like academically?
I was terrible academically. I just told you. I thought I was retarded.
Yeah, but sometimes you can be like, you can hate school, but still you can have some kind of academic, like some topics that you excel in more than others.
No. I was consistent. I hated school, and I was bad at school, and I was bad at sport. And I got beaten relentlessly. This is back when kids won't believe this. Even anyone under 30 will not remember the cane.
I got the cane one.
You got the cane
for something that I didn't even do, but I didn't want to. It was something about throwing rocks, and I didn't want to.
And you didn't throw the rock.
No, I didn't throw the rock, but then one of the kids said he threw the rock, and I went, okay. Right. I just went along with it.
Beat me.
It was ridiculous.
Assault me.
I look back on it. And
look back on it. You should find that teacher and throw rocks at him.
Yeah.
Or at his house.
Find his glass house.
But that's the thing, teachers were allowed to beat you up. I went to Bankstown Boys. That was my first high school. And I swear, we had a teacher called Mr. Ryan, used to grab you by the hair when you were very unsuspecting. It was always funny when it happened to someone else. Someone would be mucking around, fooling or doing something, and Mr. Ryan, big fat fuck with no hair, he'd grab the guy from the hair, and just smash his head into the wall. Like, bang, really quick. And the shock on the kid's face, it was always hilarious until it happened to me.
Right.
And I go, well, that's not that funny after all. And, that's assault.
Yeah.
That is serious assault.
That is.
Teachers were allowed to kick you.
Yes.
And beat you with a stick.
But I think they can get away with that.
Not only could you get away with it, it was expected.
Yeah. So, my brother went to Maris Brothers.
Yeah.
And the teacher, one of the brothers, had a horsewhip. And he'd go around and he'd smack kids with the horsewhip.
Yeah. And mate, he was Catholic. He got off lightly.
Yeah.
Well,
my brother once, he was leaning forward and he had his pen like this, just on the back of his head.
Yeah.
And one of the brothers went up and smacked him up the back of the head with it. And the pen went lodged into his head under the skin, pulled out, blood's pissing out of his head. He had to go to hospital, get 3 stitches in there.
And what happened to that teacher? He got promoted.
Yeah, nothing. He was not reprimanded. Nothing happened to him. However,
yes.
This is karma.
Yes.
When they did the big investigation into molestation at the Maris Brothers, that same teacher went down. He's in jail now.
Are you sure it was a pen that was inserted into Ben? Maybe he said it was a pen. Apparently,
it was very small.
It was the size of a pen, but it was long and pointy.
Yeah. But that's ridiculous. Like, think of that happening to. I don't know why my mum didn't press charges. Like, that's crazy. Like a kid.
Well, back then it
have
was
to go to hospital with 3 stitches.
Oh yeah, no. We had a guy. There's a horrible maths teacher. He used to not bother with caning. He just kick kids. Just kick them.
Wow.
Like, you stupid bastard, and kick them. And you couldn't go to the police because they would beat you up as well.
Yeah.
It was a rough world.
When did that change? When did the caning and
after I left? They thought, oh well, we've beaten him enough.
After I left too, then I guess it was an interesting time, but like when you would actually fear the teacher. Like a friend of mine that I went to school with, he's now a teacher himself. You can't do anything. It's hardly even discipline the kids. Like he tried to discipline the kid for not doing his homework. He goes, "Sir, you're bullying me. I'm going to report you."
Oh yeah.
It's
gone the other extreme. It's the other extreme. But I don't believe in school anyway.
No.
I really think school is a scam.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to send your kids to school. I don't have kids, luckily.
But boy, you don't think an education is important?
No.
No?
No, I don't. Because what you're doing is you're getting their version of what is correct and what is right. You can educate some of my heroes. In fact, all my heroes, all the people that I've admired, don't have an education.
Who?
Woody Allen.
He went to school.
No, but he failed school. He left school at 16.
Okay, go on.
And Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan. He
Never
went to
went to-
school.
He went to school, but didn't do well at school. Didn't like school. All my heroes didn't like school, and because anyone who's creative or anyone who is an original thinker doesn't belong in this regimented. You know, when you line up and that's all programmed. It's all to program you so you can work in a bank. or work at Telstra. You know, this is everyone is being
we would have a world full of bankers then.
Well, but yes, exactly, exactly. Bankers and well, you know, they're basically making little machines, future machines.
So you're saying people that respond well to authority and toe the line, and you think that's what school's mainly about?
Yeah, it's about
but there are
brainwashing.
There are, you know, like for me, I really enjoyed modern history.
But you didn't need school for that. You could have just bought books.
Science.
Yeah.
But I had good teachers that were giving that information to me. Like, that part of it was.
No, I learned a lot about physics by being kicked.
Yeah.
You know, velocity.
Yeah, velocity plus
momentum
equals ouch.
Impact on my ass.
Yeah.
That's if that was on the test, you know. But no, I think a lot of it.
But there's also social. Well, you know, I say social schools. I went to an all boys school.
I went to an all boys school,
and I remember coming out of school and just feeling very socially awkward. Like I was talking to my friend Andrew, the opera singer. Andrew Goodwin.
Yeah.
And he and we're saying we're like socially inept when it comes to talking to girls. We had no experience. At
but
school.
even up until I was Gary Eck is a mutual friend of ours.
Yes.
And one year we did Edinburgh and we went and we caught up just coincidentally. I was in Northern Ireland, in a place called Donegal.
Oh, Donegal.
Donegal. You know Donegal.
Yeah.
Girl, Donegal.
Oh, Donegal. the pipes.
That's that car. Yeah. And I was walking, it was about sunset, and I see Gary. What are
So
the chances?
you had gone and done the festival to Edinburgh.
I had
and then
no idea.
And after the Edinburgh, you went your separate ways and just happened to convene at...
Yeah, he's driving past. Anyway,
Yeah.
we hung out, and then that night we met these beautiful Irish girls, like really pretty, very cute. You know that natural beauty with no lipstick, no makeup, but just stunning looking, beautiful long black hair. And we're going, oh my god! And you know we're having drinks in this pub, and then I messed it up because I said I got too anxious, and you can ask Gary this. And this comes from an all boys education and all sorts of reasons, but that's one of the factors. Plus, I'm a fucking idiot. These girls we were just getting on really well, and then I said to them, I came out with, so you girls gonna like sleep around with us, or you gonna sleep with us tonight? You gonna have sex? Gonna have sex?
It just came out?
It just came out because that's what I was thinking.
What was the look on Gary's face? Like, what have
He's
you
going, man, you fucked it up. We were in. But I said because we were wasting time. It was getting late. I was getting tired.
I'm hungry.
Come on. I said, so you guys sleep around? Are you gonna have sex with us?
Wow. And what was the response to that?
They left immediately.
Yeah.
They left like they didn't even answer me. They just left.
Yeah.
And Gary gave me a really dirty look, and I thought, well, you know, and so he went home and masturbated. Apparently, that's what he told me.
And did you learn from that experience?
No,
right? Did you repeat that again?
Well, I didn't repeat it, but I just don't know how to.
Was this before you did the trip to London, where you had the situation with the girl talking to her all night?
It was the same year.
Oh, it was the same year.
Well, I've been to Edinburgh twice. Once on my own, and this was with the sketch show, and that was that year.
Okay.
And I still, don't.
Yeah, like but especially out of school, if it was just a girl that I was talking to, it'd be fine. Could just talk. But if there was that intention of thinking, wow, she's really pretty, that's when I would clam up and get very nervous.
Well, I don't clam up.
Yeah.
I just say, so we're going to have sex. And for some reason, women don't like that.
Doesn't work. Yeah.
It's just, I don't get it. You have to play this game. You pretend that you're not interested. I can't do that.
No.
I was never taught that.
No.
And the other thing is, I don't know if a girl's interested in me. For years and years, someone would say, oh, that girl is really
Really?
Yeah, and I go, what?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? She had her tongue in your ear.
Yeah.
But I thought she was just waxing. It was just like cleaning the wax. I don't know. I never believed that someone's interested in it.
Yeah.
It didn't happen often, but when it has happened.
Okay, so what about a co-ed school then?
A co-ed school would be a lot better,
Yeah.
but the idea of school is wrong.
My school
Yeah.
became co-ed the year after I left.
But it's
And
so restricted, right? Like everything you learn according to
A curriculum.
a curriculum, the
Yeah.
mainstream. So everything you will learn, you have no choice in questioning. You can't question it.
But what if you get a good teacher that teaches you that, like
Yeah.
Dead Poets Society, remember that?
Oh yeah, if Robin
Yeah.
Williams was my teacher,
Yeah.
absolutely, I would not have skipped school.
Yeah.
So wow, Robin Williams is teaching
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
He-
Captain, my captain.
Yes, that would have been good. But
Yeah.
I went to a similar school to that, and where they would just take you into a room and beat you instead of inspiring you.
Yeah, yeah. I'd get kind of anxious at school. I remember, I'm just remembering it now. I used to be very fast runner. I would break the school
So you went
record.
to a Catholic school then? You had to.
Yeah, I did. And I was and I whenever it came to the athletics carnival, I would sprint
Showed up,
and showed up and it was weird. It was like one thing that I would win the ribbon, and my grandmother would put it into a little booklet, and I remember my dad would be like, well done, son, and it was kind of like I felt this kind of validation through winning these races,
Yeah.
and I then went to St Andrews, and I made it into the final for this running
Race?
race. Yes, thank you, Saleh.
No, I'm good with the language.
But we went out, and then we had the big because I had the trials that you'd go into, and then I went out to I think it's called the something Marks Sports Centre, and it's out.
Groucho Marx? Everyone runs with like hunched over with a cigar in there. And here comes Groucho round the corner.
And I had a big stadium next to the edge of the. It was a proper it had proper
Field, yeah.
a proper running track, like the rubber, like the Olympic running track.
Wow.
And it had a stadium down the side. I thought, oh my God, this is big time now. And I made it into the final. And I was up against a guy called Rickard Moen. Now, Rickard was one of the state champion sprinters.
Yeah.
He had shoes that had like spikes on them.
Oh, you got to watch it.
And I remember watching the trial, and I was in a different one to him. But then when he came out, he was like this Adonis, like he was ripped. And he gets out there, and he just took off and left everyone for dead. And I made it into the final up against Rickard. I was filled with so much anxiety. It was ridiculous.
Intimidated.
Yeah, very.
Studs.
Because I'd never lost a race before.
Yeah.
And it came time for the race. They announced would everyone make their way down to the, and I just got so overwhelmed. Like I need to go to the toilet, and I ran to the toilet.
If only it was like a weak bladder competition.
Yeah, I would have won. First out.
You would have pissed it in.
And I bolted to the toilets there.
Yeah.
I closed the door, locked it, and I just froze.
You froze. You sure it wasn't a fridge?
We went in the wrong door. Went into the catering department.
I understand.
I froze, and they made the announcement, and they said, they read out the names, and they said, Joel Osborne, come down to the track. We're waiting for you for this race. I couldn't move. I was just frozen. And then afterwards, I heard the gun go. The race, I heard everyone screaming in the stadium.
You shit yourself.
It's like an enema. And then I went back outside, and everyone's like, Joel, where were you? They were calling your name. And I went, oh, were they? I didn't hear. And I went and sat down. The sportsmaster I could just feel his eyes watching me walking down. And I sat down, and I made eye contact with me, and he looked at me and just went, just shook his head, and I felt and that night I could not sleep. I was like so riddled with, shame and disappointment
guilt
in myself.
You
and
could
guilt.
have at least had a go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I learned a lesson that day.
Rickard might have broken his, might have had a little
He might have had a little accident.
He might have had might have slipped and broke his face. The spikes hit him in the eyes. Anything could have happened.
Ended up in a dumpster.
You got to take your chances.
But that's what I learned. This is what I'm saying with school. You learn things from school.
Well, you learn learn things from life.
I learned not to just give it a shot, and the pain of actually not giving it a shot is far worse than going into it and not.
No, I don't know about that. You could
No?
for the rest of the year go, oh, Rickard, I would have kicked his ass, except I had diarrhea.
No, everyone.
I
knew.
would have-
Everyone knew.
everyone knew.
But the thing is, it doesn't
You
matter about that.
chickened out.
I knew. I
Look,
let myself down.
I went to a very small school, in like numbers wise, it was a small population of kids. But we'd go and play rugby, and rugby was really important. You had to play rugby.
What position were you?
I was hooker. I was the hooker.
You're like Benny Elias.
Yeah, I was Benny
Yeah.
Elias. I was the hooker.
Yeah.
And because I was short and stumpy.
Yeah.
And things don't change sometimes. Some things don't change. But then we were like in year 7 or year 8, and we'd play kids that were not really kids. These kids were shaving.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
they'd be shaving
Yeah.
during the game.
Yeah.
You know, and they had like hairy legs and and they'd come running at you, and you could just go, man. I'm not gonna, I don't want to get hurt.
Yeah. Just take the ball.
Yeah,
I would. I was in the same. I was always put on the wing.
There's no point. Yeah. The wing was a good one. It was a
Yeah.
bludge one.
Yeah.
Just to hang
Well, you
out.
get the ball and just sprint. Just run basically. I was always just waiting to get the ball, and then I was off.
Yeah. And if people can't, I remember once about 5 guys, big guys came. I had the ball and I was running. They came up to me and said, "There you go, take it. I'm not gonna. I don't want any trouble.
Yeah.
I don't want any. I don't want any. I don't want to cause any fighting or anything. There's no point. I'm a peaceful rugby player. Everyone gets a go with the ball.
Yep.
And that's the thing. And I'll tell you, I've got very strange memories of school. Because when I came to Australia, I couldn't speak any English.
Sure.
Not a word.
That's when you were 11.
I was 10, turning
10.
11.
Okay.
And
Now, what was the context of that? You didn't even know that you were coming to Australia.
yeah, my parents were very wacky. They didn't tell us. It was a surprise.
So you're at home in Egypt,
in Cairo, and they said, and I said, why are you packing all these bags? They didn't want to tell us because they didn't want us to tell anyone else. Because they didn't want anyone to know.
Why?
I have no idea.
Did
to
they
this
ever?
day.
No, you don't know.
No. Well, I suspect that I think my father was involved in espionage or something.
Really?
I don't know. Probably not.
So your parents were like the sort of people that would be at a party and they wouldn't say goodbye to anyone. They'd just leave.
Yeah, that's right. They were very strange. No, look, it was a horrible sort of regime, and people disappeared all the time. And we had a kid, a relation of my mother's, from my mother's side of the family. He was 18, studying law. And the president of Egypt, Anwar Sadat, went to visit the university and gave a talk. And then he said, "Are there any questions?" And this kid, innocently and stupidly, asked a question. He said something like, "Excuse me, Mr. President, is it true that the people around you make you feel more important than you actually are?" He disappeared.
Really?
The next day, he disappeared, and this was 40 years ago. He has not been seen since. His mother mourned, and she'd go to the uni and say, "Where's my son?" And say, "We can't help you. We have no idea where he is. He just disappeared." And
so you feel that was the catalyst for your father to go, "Listen, I don't want my kids to grow up in this environment."
Absolutely.
I want them to grow up in Australia where people can call the Prime Minister a effing...
Fuckwit, I love that when it was Scott Morrison. There's not many countries where this could happen.
Yeah.
The Prime Minister of the country on national television gets called a fuckwit.
Yeah.
Get out of here, you fuckwit.
Go back to Kirribilli.
You fuckwit. Now, any other country that'd be taken away, even in America.
Yeah.
Right? But we're very blessed. I just called him a fuckwit then. But so we came to Australia, and I remember. Have we talked about this already?
I don't know.
Because it was a weird thing coming to Australia and hearing everyone speak English, and I was 10, I'd not even grasp the concept of different languages.
Right.
Because in Australia you hear different languages.
Sure.
Sure. Whatever. You go to Fairfield or
so the idea of speaking
language
English
even.
or
Well, I went to school that first day. I was in year 5. And everyone was speaking. I couldn't understand a word of what anyone was saying. And in my brain, in my childish, stupid brain, thought, I think I got a handle on this. What I do, this is how I do it, is I think about what I want to say, and then just make sounds with my mouth, and they'll understand me.
Right.
So I'll look at something and go blah 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 blah, blah. and then that whole concept was exaggerated.
You were trying to create your own language, really?
No, I was trying to get something across, but I didn't know. It was frustrating not being
No
able
wonder
to.
you hated school.
Oh no, there was many reasons why I hated school. I was.
But God, to not only be because I know what it feels like to be the new guy in school.
Yeah, yeah.
But then to also
Not have a word.
be able to communicate. That's.
But I'm trying to get my head around this whole language thing. And we had a teacher called Miss Milton. She was really pretty. Everyone loved her, and she was really. I'm going to tell this story. You know this story?
Do I?
Yes. I think you do. I told it to you before.
Yes, yes.
Right. This is a true story, and so Miss Milton, around lunchtime, she would pick a student who's been good to go and get her lunch.
Right.
So if you've been good, you get to go and buy her lunch.
Now, this
She
was
gives
back
you-
in the day when you put the money into the brown paper bag.
That's right.
Yes,
Kids
I
won't remember
that.
this.
I remember that.
Yeah, and the teacher would go, Johnson, or, they wouldn't call, but in primary school they say, Barry or Jenny or, whatever, and everyone would be so excited.
Yes.
I want to be the one to buy Miss Milton her lunch. And I never got picked for about 3 months. I still had no, I didn't have a grasp of the language, but I was starting to pick up a few words here and there. And then finally she picked me, right? I must have been exceptionally good to earn the right to go and buy her lunch. It's funny when you're a kid, that things that excite you. And I was so excited, and she called me over and she gave me the money, and she looked into my eyes and she said, "Get me a peanut butter sandwich in a bag." Right?
Yeah.
I'll never forget that sentence till the day I die, because I thought, I don't understand a word of what she just said, but I know that I have to go get her lunch because I've seen other kids go do that.
Right.
I can't mess this up. Right? I've got the money in my hand and the bag, and she goes, "You got that?" So and I said, "Uh-huh." And she repeated it. She said, "Get me a peanut butter sandwich in a bag." I thought, okay, all right. She said, "Can you do that?" I said, "Yes." So I got the money, and I'm running so I don't forget, and I'm repeating it to myself out loud so I don't forget, saying, "Peanut butter sandwich in a bag, peanut butter sandwich in a bag, peanut butter sandwich in a bag." And as I got closer to the canteen, I got louder, "Peanut butter sandwich in a bag." And I could see teachers looking out their window, go, "What the fuck's wrong with that kid?" He was always yelling shit, "Peanut butter sandwich in a bag." But where my class was and the canteen, it was a big distance, right? For a kid, anyway, but for some reason, peanut butter sandwich in a bag got altered to something different, like butter in a bag, butter in a hag, butter in a hag, right? So I thought I had it.
Yeah.
I ran into the canteen, put the money on the counter, looked up at the lady, and said, "Buy me another egg." She said, "I beg your pardon?" She said, "Buy me another egg." She said, "No, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to. I don't know what you're saying."
So what happened to those?
I had to go back and give her them. That was it was a shameful day.
Oh.
And everyone laughed, and I said, "I don't know what you said." And for the next year, all I could remember, I had no problem ordering lunch again, but she never gave me the opportunity.
You should have just given her a pen and a piece of paper
Yes.
to write it down.
But I thought I could handle it.
Yeah.
I just repeated what she said: peanut butter sandwich in a bag.
And
And
did you
then-
get an offer? Could you go back again that day,
No,
or did she send someone else to do
She
it?
said, "Don't worry, I'll get it." I can't remember what happened. It's a long time ago. I blanked it out of my brain. It was a traumatic day for
Yeah.
Saleh.
It would be.
I wanted
it's
to.
interesting how something like that you can hold on for so much time. For
I never forgot that
this amount of.
because it was
Yeah.
such a big deal, And I'm the only one that messed it up. But I said, "This is big." Special English it was.
Yes.
Special English class.
Special, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, it is.
For special
it is,
people.
It is interesting, those memories from school that you hold on to that are so.
Well, you're very impressionable.
Yeah.
And you're very vulnerable, and it's like it's so important. Things that obviously mean nothing now.
Yeah, I remember I'm just remembering this now, that I had it It was in kindergarten. I went to a kindergarten. It was called Hansel and Gretel.
Oh.
I thought, what a name for a kindergarten, right? Like, name it after a fairy tale about two kids that are put in a stew by a witch.
Is that what? Oh.
Yeah, that's
but they
what
ate the
story of
house, right?
Well, Hansel and Gretel.
Didn't they eat the house?
It was made out of like
Gingerbread.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Great story.
Yeah.
Is it real?
What, Hansel and Gretel?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
It's in the Bible, right?
Yeah, it is. It's got to be real then.
Yeah. It's as real as anything in the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we went to the beach. We're having an outing day to the beach.
Oh, yeah.
And I had my Humphrey B. Bear
Oh, yeah.
that I would, that was it was like, sort of like a comfort blanket that I would take.
Yeah,
I remember going to the beach and I thought, I'll take Humphrey to the beach.
Yes.
You know, and I thought this would be great, but I didn't want him to get in the water. And so I just kept on holding on to him, standing by the water. And this idiot kid came up, snatched it out of me, got it, and just pegged it into the ocean. And I was just so distraught because I thought Humphrey's gonna drown. So I went to run in after it, and the teacher screamed, "Don't go in there!" And had to wait, and he was washed back up, and I was crying, and it was a devastating day. He was waterlogged. He was never the same again, Humphrey.
Yeah, that kid grew up to be Peter Dutton.
Yes.
Send him back.
Take him there. Turn him around.
Turn back the bears.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's weird that you got. I haven't thought about that in, I don't know, like a long time.
No.
That memory is still there. But I have memories of things that have happened to you, Saleh.
Oh, dude,
And
you have memories.
Yeah, and
you've lived my life precariously.
Yes. And I tell people stories about you, and they don't believe me. So I thought we should create like a segment in this podcast.
It's no bullshit.
Yeah, it's no bullshit. True or false?
True or false.
So I'm gonna put forward.
The thing is, you because you haven't partaken in any illicit, mind-altering substances.
Right.
You have an incredible memory, and you got a great sense of direction as well. Two things that I have no talent.
So you might not even remember.
I don't remember things, and I get lost going home.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, you might not even remember what I'm going to propose here.
Who are you? Go on.
Who
go
is
on.
this?
No.
So here's just a thing
That
about.
you've heard on the grapevine.
No, that I've witnessed.
Are you witnessed?
I've
Well, it's
witnessed.
true then.
So I was.
You're an honest person. You would never make something like that up to embarrass me.
Now I was driving to see you once when you were in Woi Woi.
Yes.
Right, you were living in Woi Woi.
Gosford.
No, you were in Woi Woi.
Oh, back
You've
then.
forgotten Woi Woi.
It's a long time.
Yeah,
Woi,
yeah.
woi.
Ugh.
Woi, woi. You know
Woi Woi.
that Spike Milligan joke.
Yeah, what was it?
What does woi woi mean in Aboriginal? It means deep water.
Right.
Which woi means deep? Which woi means water? I don't know.
That's a good point.
Spike Milligan.
So I was driving there to catch up with you. Now, keep in mind, you were going through some financial stress at that time.
As usual.
Yes.
Yes.
And you gave me the address to your place. And when I drove up there, I looked in, and there was this brand new BMW in the driveway.
Yes.
And I thought, well, that's obviously not Akmal. So I went back down the road and thought maybe the numbers start up again. I thought, no, it's not there.
I'm looking
And so-
for a car with bricks.
Yeah, up on cinder blocks.
Yeah.
And so I went back and I went, well, that is the number that you sent me. All right, I'll just go and knock
Whose
on.
car is that?
I'll go and knock on the door. Maybe you knock on the door and you answer the door. Ah, hey, Joel. I said, whose car is that in the driveway? And you went, I fucked up.
I bought a car.
So what happened?
finance.
What happened with that though is Kate bought a car off a friend, a smart car.
Yes.
And she was driving backwards and forth.
You know,
between
smart cars, they're like matchbox cars.
Yeah.
They're not even real.
And she was driving on the freeway, and you said,
You know,
"Look."
someone on a skateboard could smash into you and destroy the car.
Right.
Yeah.
And you said, look, I screwed up. Kate bought this car. I said, it's not safe.
Yeah.
Let me take it. I'm going to take it to Parramatta Road. I'm going to trade it in. I'll get us a sensible car.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you drove down to Parramatta Road. You went past the dealership for BMW. You said, oh, that looks nice. You drove in there. Next minute, you're driving out in the
I was
new
just
BMW.
browsing.
Yes.
I was browsing, but those guys are so good.
Yep.
They're fantastic. They're amazing.
You
know?
gave him your credit card, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you drove out in this new BMW.
He goes, oh, look, you know, you only need a deposit and you can pay the rest off. It pays for itself.
Right.
And, you know, you're a comedian, you know, you want to be seen as successful.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't want to drive in something scummy.
Yeah.
He put such a good argument forward. And before I knew it, I was walking out with this car. And as soon as I drove out, I started regretting it. Thinking, oh, shit, I was supposed to actually reduce our spending. But instead, I've tripled it.
Now, you eventually moved to Revesby shortly after that.
Yes.
And I remember going downstairs to the car and it was all dented up. This great BMW.
Yes, dented up, yeah.
Now, someone had run into the
It
car.
was a garbage truck.
No.
Was it a garbage truck?
No, you said someone had run into the car and you heard the crash. You ran out to check it out. The car had already gone.
No, it was a garbage truck.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, we weren't allowed to park there because the garbage. So this spiteful prick
so
must have thought. I didn't see it, but I heard a smash.
Oh, that's what you ran out.
I assumed it was the garbage truck because it was just bang and it smashed.
Was the garbage truck still there or was gone by that point?
It was gone.
So I looked at you and said, "Did you get the details?" And you said no. And I said, "Well, at least you've got the car insured. It was be $600 excess." I'm looking at you and I said, "It's not insured, is it?" And the car was not insured.
No, it was not insured. No. What is this segment? Welcome to Akmal is a fuckwit, where we discuss fuckwit things he's done.
I thought this was true or false.
It's true. It's true. It's all true. It's true. I've messed up financially. I'm retarded.
Now you went to an event that was happening at the town hall with this car. And you parked on Kent Street, and the event was the Chaser were putting on.
How do you remember this?
The Chaser were putting on an event, right?
Yes.
You and Kate were there.
So I drove with my smashed up BMW.
Yep, you parked it, sensible Saleh parking. You got back. It went longer than expected at this event.
Yes.
You got back to the parking station. It was shut.
It was shut.
And there was a number on the wall, and you have to call. You called up the number, and they said, "Listen, we're going to have to send someone out to open because it's after hours, but it's going to be $150."
No, it was like nearly 300.
Was it 300?
280.
Oh my God!
$280 to come in and open the door for me.
And you waited for over an hour.
Yes.
You walk in there. You look to the left. You look to the right. This isn't the right car park.
This wasn't the right.
You had waited outside the wrong car park.
And I paid.
And you had already paid $280. You went down to the 24-hour car park that your car was still in. True or false?
True. Absolutely true. It's all true. You're amazing.
Because I tell people this story, and they're like, "No way, that did not happen."
My wife was with me, so she's partly to blame as well. Like she should have been onto it.
She should have. So she didn't even recognize that it was a different car park.
We thought it was this one. She trusted me because I thought I'll remember. But they all look the same. They all have like a dip in when you walk in, and there's like a
boom gate.
A boom gate,
yes.
and they look identical.
Right.
Except this one was very small. And I don't think it was even a parking place for general public. I think it was like a company thing because all the cars were, it's like 12 cars. And none of them were a smashed up BMW.
So we now get rid of that car. You ended up getting rid of it.
Is this continuing?
Yes.
I thought we'd come to an end.
No, you got rid of the BMW.
More. Yes.
You got rid of the BMW, right?
Yes.
And then you ended up buying Land Rover.
Yes. The problem is these salespeople are so good, and they go, "Look, you can get rid of this car. You can have that on finance. You don't have to pay a cent.
Finance.
Look, you got a great credit rating. You can walk out with this and listen to the stereo. It's amazing.
And that's how they get you.
Man, it had 16 speakers.
What, is this the BMW or the Land?
No, this is the Range Rover.
Right.
It's a Range Rover, English made, beautiful cars.
They are. They're good
beautiful
cars.
Beautiful cars. I know your dad loves it. He's a big fan.
Yep. He's had them since the 70s.
70s, yes.
But they've become more of a luxury vehicle now.
This was a luxury vehicle, which I didn't need. We don't have children.
I remember because you bought the car and you said, "I'm too big in this car anyway. It's annoying me now."
Yeah. Well, I got small legs.
Now, you had a corporate gig. You had driven out to Sydney Airport. You'd parked, the gig. You did a corporate gig up in Brisbane, and then you were coming back to Sydney. Now, the flight was delayed coming back to Sydney.
How do you remember this stuff, man? You're amazing. When I get dementia, I want you as my roommate.
Had you forgotten all this stuff?
I'd forgotten it.
Now, you were on the tarmac. Now, Andy, our agent, was calling you up going, "Where are you? You got to be back in Sydney for this corporate gig in Woolloomooloo at the W Hotel." And like, I'm still on the tarmac. I haven't even taken off. You ended up, it was really late taking off from Brisbane.
Yeah.
You got into Sydney late. You ran to the parking station in Sydney Airport. You got into the Range Rover. You took off into the city.
Yes.
Now, on the way, you should have taken the Woolloomooloo exit. But you ended up into the city. There was roadworks. You were running late. The corporate people are calling up from the event. Where is Saleh? You end up getting to Woolloomooloo outside the W Hotel. You run up to valet and say, "Valet my car," and they said, "Valet's full." You went, "Well, I got to go to the gig." You took off with the keys to the gig.
That's
you
right.
left the car out front. Now at the gig,
It was awful. I remember that.
who was the gig for?
Some losers. It was a Christmas party and it was a nightclub.
Yeah.
So they just turned off the music and they gave me a microphone. I'm in the middle of a dance floor.
And you weren't doing well on stage.
Awful. It was
Now,
terrible.
a lady collapsed during your gig, and
That was the saving grace.
and
10 minutes into my act, this woman lost consciousness,
Yes.
and everyone rushed to help her, and thought, "Thank you, God." You know, he did that for me.
And people are yelling, "Stop! Stop! We're calling
Shut
an
up."
ambulance!"
Yeah, and I'm doing my act, and they go, "Shut up! Shut up! Look, the woman's dying." And you go, "So, what's with cats? What's going? Anyone from out of town?"
So they had to stop the gig. The medics came in,
Yeah.
took the lady out on the stretcher.
Yeah, and then I went back on.
They said, "Go on." Get back
No,
on."
they didn't. They said that's fine, but my ego got the better of me.
Oh, really? You didn't have to go back on?
No, they were paying such good
Why
money.
would you go back on then?
Guilt. I
That's
felt
derailed.
guilty. No,
All
but
right, so you went back on, and then what happened?
and then I died some more, and I was hoping someone.
There's
could
been
maybe-
a tragedy, and then you think comedy's going to fix it.
Oh no, comedy never fixes.
I've done that before, though, where I've been at a corporate gig once where someone was dying before me going on, and it was at Penrith Panthers.
Yes.
And there was not even a stage. There was like a corner it was like a corner with a little elevation.
Oh, yeah.
And it was
No,
for a Christmas.
audience?
No,
Yeah.
actually, it was meant to be in the nightclub.
Yeah.
At Penrith Panthers.
I know the nightclub.
Yeah, and
horrible.
we set it up all theatre style. We thought
Oh.
this is going to be great. No one cared. No one bothered even coming in. They were all still at the bar getting
yeah,
drunk.
no,
And they said, "All right, let's move the comedy to the bar then." So the first comic got up and he's talking, and nothing. No one's listening to him.
Who was on?
Judas Falling.
Oh, Judith falling. Yeah, Judith's career falling.
And he couldn't get him. No one's listening. It's just mayhem. And the guy came up to me and said, "Listen, you don't have to go up. This is a washout anyway. It's they should have come to the nightclub."
Yeah.
But inside of me, I thought, you know what? I think I can get him.
I can win him.
Yeah, I can do it. I got up there, died. I couldn't even die. No one was even listening.
Look,
It
we
was
were going to pay you, but now that you've gone on, we're going to have to.
we're going to renege on that.
Yeah.
And they weren't even listening. I didn't even have a chance to die. It was just
yeah.
mayhem.
We've all
so
been
anyway, back to you at this gig, right? After the gig, you were staying in Woolloomooloo at a hotel, at a different hotel. You went back out to the valet you had a fine. It was like $180 or something for parking and leaving the car there. You went to parked outside of the hotel.
And there was a sign clearly saying "Spikes, do not proceed."
No. Before we get to that,
before
though,
we get to that.
you said, "Can I valet it?" This is at the second hotel, and I said, "We don't have valet. You got to park it yourself." And so you go, you drive. You're so tired. I just want to go to bed. You drive up to the parking station. You drive in, and and you go to turn the car, and you're like, "Hang on, the car's not turning." You look.
Four tires exploded. Four tires.
You had driven in the exit over the spikes that shredded 4 of the tires.
Well,
right?
there was a sign saying "Do not proceed. Tires might cause damage to tires." I thought that can't be serious.
Hang on.
I was too tired.
You saw that beforehand?
Very quickly, yeah. Like
Hang on, I didn't know this. You saw that and you still proceeded.
subliminally. And I thought, that can't mean me. Must mean everyone else. Can't mean me. And that
Saleh.
cost. So
But then what happened is you had to call the tow truck. The tow truck had to take you to Parramatta Road, drop you off at the Bob Jane T-Mart out front. You said to the guy, "Can you give me a lift back?" And the guy's like, "I'm not a taxi service."
not a taxi, mate.
He left you there.
Jeez.
He left you there for an hour and a half, waiting for a taxi because you were calling up. It was a Saturday night.
Christmas.
You eventually went back, went to bed, got up first thing at 8 o'clock, went back to Bob Jane T-Mart. They didn't even end up having the tyres that you wanted. They had to put on these expensive tyres on the Range Rover. You then drove to Ridges in Newtown, checked in, went to bed. True or false?
Absolutely true. Good story. Oh, what? And what is the point of this?
Cool.
What is this?
I tell people these stories. They don't believe me.
No,
They're
no.
like, no one would do that.
That's absolutely
Now,
true. I can top that.
No, you once had a gig.
Uh-oh.
This continues. True or false continues today.
True. Let's move on.
No, you once had a
True.
gig. Let me just say this.
Okay.
You once had had a gig.
Yeah.
In,
Once I had a gig.
in Adelaide.
Once I had a gig a long time ago.
You had a gig in Adelaide. They gave you money to go down there as a travel expense, and you thought, you know what, I'm going to save on the travel expense. I'm going to drive to Adelaide.
No.
No?
That didn't happen.
That's false.
No, that's false. It was Ansett. When Ansett collapsed, they said, we can't have the gig now. And I thought, I was looking forward to this gig. It's a really good gig. And they said, well, there's nothing we can do. There's no flights.
When was this, back in the 90s?
Yeah. I said, it's nothing. I'll drive.
That's right.
You're in Sydney? I said, yeah. And we're in Adelaide, right? Yeah, we'll drive. 2 days later.
You got down there, and you were so tired. And they weren't going to give you money for accommodation, but you thought, I'll save money on a comm and just drive back to Sydney. And you drove back after the gig to Sydney, and you're on the road, and you're so tired. The sun's coming up. You've been driving for ages, and you see signs for Alice Springs.
Yeah, this is Alice Springs.
You had gone the wrong way.
Yeah. So
you turned around, drove back.
Back to where I started at the club, and I'm sitting there having breakfast with my car out the front after driving for 8 hours, and I'm back where I started. But the gig went well.
The gig went well. And then
well.
you checked into a hotel, went to bed, got sleep, and then drove back to Sydney.
Yeah.
True or false?
True. Absolutely true.
Okay.
It's a laughing gas. Can we just wrap this up
this
now?
is the final one, Saleh.
Final one.
I need clarification
I can't
on
believe
this.
you remember this. This is
You were once
very traumatic for
driving
me.
to Melbourne with Haskell Daniels.
Yes.
Haskell Daniels, dearly departed.
Yes.
You
Haskell
took a
was a good friend of ours.
Now,
who,
Haskell told me this. You got to Essendon. You took a wrong turn
False.
at Essendon.
False.
You took a wrong turn at Essendon. You're at the airport. You ended up on the tarmac at the airport where a plane was landing, and Haskell's going, Akmal, what are you doing? You've taken the wrong bloody turn. You've ended up on the tarmac at Essendon Airport. True or false?
This is absolutely false. Does that sound like true to you?
Well,
a car on the tarmac?
Considering everything else you've done, Saleh, I would not.
How does a car get on the tarmac? It's impossible. Let me tell you about Haskell.
Haskell swore to me. He swore
you
that
know
this
Haskell
happened.
as well as I did. I've known Haskell. Sadly, he's left us now. He ate himself to death. Just one too many kebabs.
That's not how he died.
Yeah.
Really?
Had a heart attack.
Oh, right.
Yeah, poor Haskell. He's a lovely man, a very funny guy, and but he was the biggest bullshit artist that I've ever met in my life, and he wasn't even good at it, right? And we called him the king of bullshit. And
What's an example? What?
Well, the thing is, he'd always start telling me, he goes, Akmal, you're gonna call me the king of bullshit. I know, but, and I knew that it was bullshit, and everyone knew. If he doesn't embellish the story beyond recognition, he just makes shit up.
Right.
He loved to talk, and as much as I loved him, it was impossible to get him off the phone.
Yeah. I remember I had many long conversation with him.
Well, even when you go, when you give the signal to most people, you're on the phone, you go, anyway. Usually, anyway, that's the signal to go, wrap it up.
Yes.
An hour later, I'm still talking to Haskell. And it's mostly lies. He just lied. And this is the thing about Haskell. The funny thing is, you tell him a story, something that happened to you, and he would go, oh, that's a great story. And then he will take that story, but put himself in the lead role.
Yes.
And then retell the story, but as himself.
He did that to me
But
once.
but then he'd forget.
Oh.
And he'd tell everybody, and a year later, he's telling me the story. And I go, Haskell, I told you this happened to me like a year ago.
Yeah.
And he just paused for a while and go, oh, yeah.
Anyway.
But it happened to me as well. No, I told this couldn't have happened to you. I told you this story a year ago. He goes, anyway, let's, you hungry? I go, yeah. So, yeah, Haskell was funny like that. You just make things up.
So you say that out of all these stories, that is false?
That is absolutely false.
Because I questioned him on that, and he swore to God that
He swears to God with, he's met God now, and God's going to go, what the hell were you doing?
Yeah.
All this bullshit, Come on.
Well, we've solved that.
No, that was bullshit. Hey, look, Haskell was a lovely man, but
he was. He
insane.
was actually. I think he was the first stand-up comedian I ever saw.
Yeah.
He was opening for The Amazing Jonathan.
Yes.
At the Hyatt Kingsgate.
I remember.
Yeah.
He got me free tickets.
Yeah.
That's how I met Jonathan.
Yes.
and he was very funny.
Yeah, you do all the sound effects. And
And he made, because Jonathan's quite beefy.
Mm-hmm.
He made Jonathan look like an anorexic because he was a big set
It
guy.
made him look like he'd been doing T25 all the
Yeah,
time.
T20. I used to have a manual car, and Haskell would get in, and he was so big that his thighs would overlap into the
gear stick.
The gear stick, so I
Wow.
couldn't change gears.
Wow.
You had to sit in the back seat because I couldn't change gears.
You're like Jeeves up front driving him around.
Yeah, Haskell. Yeah. Oh man, he was an interesting guy, but lied through his teeth.
Right. Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
we've
Everyone who knew Haskell well.
Well,
would tell you
there was
that.
an incident where he inserted himself into a story that I was in.
Oh yeah,
When
you see?
when Ostentatious was at your house,
Yeah,
and we're having dinner there. This was when you were living in Brighton Le Sands.
That's right.
And he was talking about Dave Hughes.
Yes,
And-
Dave Hughes and
and he kept on going, I'm angry. That's what.
yeah,
That's what.
Sandy
that's what,
Goodman is a very
Ostentatious,
funny, ostentatious.
yes.
His stage name is a real amazing character, very charismatic.
Yes.
Very loud voice,
Yeah.
very deep voice,
Very funny.
and he hates everybody except me and Haskell.
Yeah.
We
He's always been very nice to me, but I
And
think
you.
I think it's vicarious through you because
No.
because
I think you're quite a likable person, but he hates everybody.
Yeah.
He toured with a friend of mine. Who's the guy from? I can't remember his name. He's a Brisbane comedian.
yes,
He's on radio now.
Mike Van Acker.
Mike Van Acker got to tour with Ostentatious, and they were like traveling for 2 weeks, and he the first day Sandy goes and picks him up, and Mike Van Acker is really excited. He's going, "Oh, Sandy, I'm so happy to be working with you. You're an absolute comic legend." And Sandy goes, "Listen, mate, I don't like you, so you just keep quiet. I don't want to talk to you. We don't want to converse. Okay, can you do that?" He goes, "Yeah, sure." Good. He keeps driving. Then an hour later, Mike Van Acker is telling him a story. He goes, "Mate, I thought we had a deal. You don't talk."
This is at the beginning of the tour.
Beginning, before they even got to know him. So it's a very intimidating character.
Yeah.
And he's going, "Oh, Dave Hughes," and he's bagging Dave Hughes, but that's just
Yeah, that's Sandy's thing.
That's just Sandy.
Yeah. It's like cut and paste whatever successful comic in there.
And at the time, Dave had a segment on radio called Dave Hughes Gets Angry.
Yeah.
I'm angry.
And there was a lady across the way who yelled out.
No, but he stood in my balcony in
he
Brighton Le
goes,
Sands
I'm angry.
for an hour
Just
and
call-
kept yelling, "I'm angry!"
And the
this
lady
is like 2 in the morning.
Yeah, and there's a lady like that goes into her backyard, goes, "Well, go to bed like the rest of us." And he
Yeah.
goes, "I can't." And then she goes, "Why?" And he goes, "'Cause I'm angry."
I'm angry, and
it's like,
people are
oh.
turning on their lights, going, "What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
What is that?"
So that was a
Yeah.
humorous kind of like we were laughing, going, "Oh, this is
Yeah.
ridiculous."
Anyway, Haskell was not present.
Yes.
Haskell was not present during that night, but you were.
It was you, me, your wife Kate, and
Ostentatious, right? Anyway, this guy years later decides. I tell Haskell this story.
Yes.
I think it's funny.
Yeah.
He puts it in his bank of bullshit, and in his brain. And this guy was doing an autobiography. Well, he's doing a biography of Sandy, and he's talked to all his close friends. So he's talking to Haskell, and Haskell was searching for stories, and he thought, "I'll pull that one out, but I'll put myself in the."
In the spot of Joel.
Yeah, I was at Akmal's house, and Dave Hughes came up, and then Sandy kept saying, "Oh, I'm angry with this guy. He says he's not funny." You know,
But he embellished it with you saying that he saying, "Oh yeah."
So Haskell brings me into it makes me into the bad guy. He was casting characters.
Yes,
That's it.
yes.
He was casting his own movie, which was bullshit in his head.
Now this was published in print in a
It
book.
was published in print. That Akmal says. What's funny about Dave Hughes? He's not even funny. All he says is, "I'm angry."
Right.
This was published.
Right. This
Then-
now gets back to Dave Hughes.
Well, Dave Hughes, someone tells him, or he reads the book, and he
yes.
rings me and goes, "Mate, what's going on? Why are you saying I'm not funny?" I said, "What? I'd forgotten about this completely." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, in Sandy's book, he said, I said, "No, man, Haskell wasn't even there. Haskell, he wasn't there that night, And then he said, all right, do you mind if we ring him up on my radio show and ask him? And Haskell said, I'll talk, yeah. And then when the time came, they rang him. He didn't answer the phone.
Oh, really?
He didn't answer the phone.
But Haskell told me that you went on air going, he's a liar, he doesn't know
Yeah,
what he's
I did.
doing. But then Haskell called up going, I'm really hurt from what Akmal said about me.
No, that's a bullshit. That's
No, that's
Haskell
bullshit
again.
as well.
No, we tried. I was on air with Hughesy,
Right.
and they were ringing him up, and we left messages. I mean, where's Haskell at 7 a.m.?
Yeah.
You know, come on. And he got scared and he didn't want to confront the truth.
I think what we can take away from this, when it comes to Akmal Saleh and it seems improbable,
It's
that's
true.
true. When it comes to Haskell Daniels and it seems probable,
See,
it's not true.
I never feel the need to even embellish.
you don't need to
or
embellish,
make up.
really.
Well,
But-
when I wrote my book, you know,
Yeah.
they asked me to write this book. I don't know why. They thought I was Nelson Mandela. I think they got me confused. We get confused all the time.
Yeah.
And I didn't, I honestly didn't even embellish anything. I just said it as it is. And other people will feel the need to kind of exaggerate or.
Sure.
But my life's
No,
been
you don't
weird.
need to. No, That's the
just-
life of Saleh.
No, well, not just my life, my
life of
family,
Akmal.
the crazies.
Yes, it is.
You know, I don't-
Well, there's plenty more I want to know about them,
yeah.
but we can explore that in a future conversation.
Oh, we could have an epic.
A whole epic
You know,
episode just on your family, and probably
serious.
just one on ostentatious too.
Austin
The
is
amount of
great.
stories.
We should have him in one day.
We
I
should.
think,
We
because
could call him up or bring him in. Yeah.
Yeah, we can call him up.
Yeah.
Well, he's free right now.
Yeah.
As most
yeah.
comedians
As
around
everyone
the world.
else. All right. Well, let's do that in future.
Let's call Ostentatious
Okay,
and
we
ask
will.
him to verify certain
Certain stories. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good. We can do a true or false with ostentatious
True or
next.
false.
All right. Well, we'll do that.
Yes.
Good chatting with you, Saleh.
Yes, we miss you, Haskell. I hope I wasn't
Yes.
disrespectful.
No, Haskell is a great guy. He is a
Heart of gold.
yes.
Brain of a bullshit artist.